Okay. So first thing we're going to do, random numbers. We have to, so if we don't want to figure out the math or the logic or the code behind, we don't want to do any of that, right? Because we're not lazy, we're efficient. So Python comes with a bunch of pre-written code that you can import into your code. So you just literally type the word import, and we've done this with Pygame, and then from pygame.locals import star. You don't have to do the second line, right? But in our game, we had to import Pygame because what that is, we installed a file with a bunch of code when we pip install Python, and then we're importing that into our code so that we don't have to rewrite a bunch of code. Yes?
Is this working on our Pygame or is this notes?
This is notes. We're not working on Pygame right now. Does that make, yes?
Are we supposed to write this stuff down?
Not the second line, you can write the first line. So,
Mr. Stoller, can you share your screen?
Oh, thank you. I knew I'd forgotten something.
He's been really nice about it when Mr. Stoller.
He did ask very nicely. So
He's like never been mad at you. He's always been very nice.
you can get mad at me at this point, Will. You can be like, Mr. Stalter, I can't see your screen. Yeah. He gets a like a megaphone. Mr. Stalter, please share. Anyway, so thank you for the reminder, Will. I appreciate it. So instead of Pygame, because we're not using Pygame, we want to do random, and you want to spell random correctly. So what this is pre-written code. I'm not answering that question because I literally just answered that question maybe a minute ago, and I've gone over it twice. So I'm sure you could figure it out though, because if you want to change anything on a computer, you go to you go to options, you go to preferences, you go to settings, you do tools or whatever, and then you just kind of go from there.
Okay.
So recent files, so this right here is code written from Python. So when we install Python, did you have a question? Did I skip? You did? Okay. Did I answer it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, are we working on Pygame today? Yes. So when we install Python, this is one of the files that automatically gets loaded in. And so this is random, and this is all the code, and I'm going to shrink this just a little bit. This is all the code that we use in different areas to get random numbers. So this right here is all the code that we would use in order to get a random number. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay? You guys don't need to know what any of this does. This is just me showing you that by importing modules, we now don't have to write any of this. We can just import it and boom, we're done. So notice that we have a bunch of what are called functions, and those are the things in blue. So we have choice, we have, I'm going to skip that one, we have rand int, rand range, and all of this is inside of something called class random in our random file. So the name of this file is lowercase random, which is why I told you guys when we started doing Pygame not to name your file Pygame and to not name your file random or anything like that. It's always better to have two words like random notes or in class Pygame or random modules or something like that, because most Python scripts that we load in are not, they have more than one word, or they only have one word. If you name something that is also the name of a module, your code will load the code you're working on into the code you're working on. Right? Anna's like, what? That makes no sense. Exactly. That's why your code will break. So make sure your file names are preferably not one word, and if they are, make sure they're not a module name. So don't name this file random. Don't name Don't name something anti-gravity, although I think you have to pip install that. I don't know what anti-gravity does in Python. Probably should. But as Brandon goes to Google it. So what we do is we import random. Can everyone see that? Or do you want it a little bigger? Okay, so import random, and then what we do is we do, you know, number equals, now I want you guys to write this, random dot randint. So notice we have the name of the module that we're loading in, random dot randint, which was a name of one of the functions inside that random file. What you can do, I tried doing this in the last class and it didn't let me because I had permissions error. But if you don't like the name randint and you want it to be random integer or super awesome function 1, you can go into that source code into the random file, rename the functions, and then when you call it, instead of typing randint, you'd have super awesome function 1. And that can be your random number generator. However, I tried to do that, and it gave me permissions error, and I didn't feel like trying to fix it. I don't recommend you guys doing that, because if you break that source code, that random file will no longer work, and you won't be able to generate random numbers. So, is it easy to fix? Yeah, you'd have to replace the random file with one that works and delete the old one. Not that difficult, but it is something that would be a bummer for you guys. Yes.
I might be getting ahead of you here, but can't you put as after random and put like a letter?
Yeah, you can. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
So, number is random.randint. This gives us 1 through 10. Now, if you notice, it's telling me I need to put AB returns random net integer in range A, comma B, including, now it goes onto my other screen over here, but if you guys just do one parenthesis and leave it, you should see including both endpoints. Meaning, if I have a random int from 1 to 10, I will get numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it includes both of them. It does not, it's not like range where it's endpoint minus 1. So if I do 1 to 10 and then print number, random modules, and this is third hour. Print number. I'm going to get, I got 2. And if I run this again, I got 3. And now 10. And now 10.
Why do I get this one?
And now 8.
Maybe that only
And now 3.
the same every single time you start it.
And now 5.
Oh, it's that's pretty.
Yep. Now, if I wanted to print 10 different random numbers without having to go, what can I do?
A little.
A loop, yes.
Wait, how do you like make it to beginning of the number? Because like I got 7, and then how do I make it so another number shows up?
You run the code again.
Oh,
So, for loop. Yep. Where do I put the for loop?
Around the print.
Okay, so how do I do that? For what?
For X.
Let's say I want to do it 10 times.
In range 10.
And then gotta indent that.
Well, no, it'll print the same one.
Oh.
I meant around both of them, but then you started doing it around 10 something.
You could have said something. Now I look stupid.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. You're the student. Okay. There you go. So now the reason why the number can't be up here, can anyone tell me? Luke?
It assigns the random number to the variable and then it stays the same unless you reassign it each time.
Correct. How many times has this line of code ran?
One.
Once. So it's one time number gets assigned to a random number between 1 and 10. As soon as I put this in here, this line of code gets ran 10 times, and each time it evaluates a new random number. So that's why when it's here, I get actually different numbers, and when the number is outside up here, I get the same number. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that not make sense to anyone? Okay, so watch this. So instead of doing a random number, we're going to do input. So you guys don't have to do this, but so watch this. So give me a number, Luke. 5. Alright. So I only ask the user for a number once, and then I printed that number 10 times. If I put number inside the for loop, please enter, now give me a number. 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 So it just evaluates that same line, and every time you have that random.random.randint module called, you get a new number. Okay, so now let's jump to another thing you can do. We're still going to have import random, but typing random dot is lame. I don't want to do that. Because what if I'm typing a bunch of random numbers? I don't want random.randint and then random.randint and random dot and random dot and random dot and random dot. I'm going to shorten it. And what I can do is I can do import random as, and then whatever I type here replaces random. So I'm going to do import random as R, and I can do print r.randint from 1 to 10. So instead of typing random dot all the time, I can do r dot. I like this, I recommend this because one, it maintains, I know that I like knowing that when I'm using a module and when I'm using code I've written. So there's something called random.choice, which will, I know we haven't gone over lists yet, but I've kind of mentioned it. Lists are a group of things, and you can have it randomly choose something in the list. So if I had a list of names of everyone in here, I could have code randomly pick one, as opposed to getting a random number and then using that number to display the corresponding name in the list. I can just have the code pick someone from a list. But that's choice. So I could do, you guys don't have to type this up. But that would be r.choice. And 1, 2, 3. So I could do r.choice. And notice it randomly picked Haya. And if I run it again, it picks yes. So it randomly selects something from in here. But if later in the code I want choice equal input because I'm asking the user for something, I wouldn't necessarily want this gone. I like having this because I know this is a module. And if I just have this, I'll get confused because I know me. So I like random to as R. In order to get this to work, you also have to do from random import star. This gets rid of the requirement to have r dot anything. You could just have the thingamabobber. So I'm just adding this random.randint just so you guys have it. Again, these notes are going to be online. So this is just notes for you guys to go back to. You okay, Cole?
Yeah, I'm just watching.
Watching, learning. Okay, I can get rid of that. Do you guys have questions? Again, I don't necessarily recommend this. We use it in our pie game because that's where, I mean, it does save some time, but and we also don't use key up for anything else, but we might actually use choice. So I would just be careful with that. So this copy, paste, because I have these from first class. Okay. And let me just throw this here. So again, I recommend import random as R. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so the next thing is there's 4 modules, 5 once we learn lists, but there's 4 modules that you guys need to know. 2 of them we use a lot, and the other 2 are pretty useful. They all deal with random numbers, obviously. The first one is, and we've gone over, is rand r.randint. This produces a number from 1 to 10, and it includes 10. That's a key point for randint. You do not need to add 1 here. So if I were to say produce a random number from 1 to 2, what 2 numbers would be in my parentheses?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yep. So when we run this, I'm going to get a 5, a 2, a 3, a 7, a 7, a 3. Okay? The next one, print r.randrange. Notice when you guys type this r.randrange, that little thing that pops up, that's a useful little, hey, this is what you can do. You have a start point in the parentheses. I'll wait until everyone's done typing before I go this because I think this is good.
Why do I not get
I don't know. Do you have import random as R up here? And then you have R when you just do one parenthesis. Huh.
Wait, can you show all the code we're supposed to have written on that?
But this is all online too. So this is in the student resources folder.
I commented out all the code for the import random as well.
That's fine. So this says start. So the first number is your start, and then you have stop is none. So if you have a whoa, actually, if you just have a random number in here, does it go from 0 to 10? You learn something new every day. So you don't need to start, just like with range, if you don't give it something, it starts at 0. So you start, stop is none, step is 1. So your first number, if you put 3 numbers, you have a start number, an end number, and a step number. Right? You guys remember when we went over range? What's the third number? What does that do?
How many times how many times you subtract? Like how many times you divide?
Yeah, so that's like every third number, every 6th number, every 4th number, starting at 0 or 1 or whatever number you have at the beginning. So this will choose a random item from the range, and it will deal with the steps. So if I said I want a random number from 0, a random multiple of 5 from 0 to 100, including 0 and 100, what 3 numbers would I need to put in range? Give me the first one.
0.
Correct. Who wants to give me the second one? Cole. Close. With there you go. 101. Who gives me the third number? Someone else.
What'd you say again?
50.
Not 50.
2.
No, 5. So now this will give me a random multiple of 5 from 0, including 100. So when we run it, we get 90, and then we get 70, and then we have 100, and then 40.
Wait, what's the 10 and the 9 in the background? Oh, that's
That's this number up here. That's rand int. Does that make sense to you guys?
I got 6.
There is something that
Oh, that's not.
there is something in random where it starts with a seed. So like the seed is the basis from which the random number is generated. And you can change that, and if that for some reason is the same, you'll get the same random number.
Can't you
Random.
like?
You can change the seed, yeah.
Yeah.
Which also, just an FYI, don't use this for any sort of cryptography or security. There's another module you need to import because this is not made for securing anything. Just an FYI. Yes, Andre. Again, I don't know when we get out of here, so I'm just going to keep going. What?
29, I think.
Oh, that's in 6 minutes. How long has the video been going? 21 minutes. They're short classes today?
No,
There are
I think
45
it's
minutes
because they
and
watch
then
TV after this.
Yeah, I know we got WAT TV after this.
Well, I don't know, because.
The first time since the first week of school.
Well, first class.
Is there the second time with the first week of school?
This is
We
the
had
second
lots
time
of
I've
fun.
sat in here and watched it with you guys, I think.
Oh, watch TV, yeah.
Because we've had Columbus Day and then the field day.
When was Columbus Day?
Oh, Columbus Day is soon.
It's 2 Mondays from now.
Yeah.
It's-
Anyway, so the next one is print r.random. Now this one's unique because it does not need any sort of parameter. This just produces a random 15-digit float number from 0 to 1. Does not include 1, I don't think. So I'm going to comment those out. So you could use this as a multiplier in a video game. You know, your health is this times this number times your health, and it's a deduction or increases your health by this amount 1 times this or whatever. If you just need a random, very specific number, you can use r.random. Yes, Cole.
I just found out my problem. It said like R wasn't finalized because I commented out.
Oh, yeah. So this produces a random float that is less than 1. Again, I'm putting all this online so you guys can see once you're done if you need to go back and take a look at these. But R produces a random float. And then the last one is a mixture of rand int and random. And I don't know why they called it this, but it's r.uniform. I would have put like rnd f float, so rand float. I'd do rand float instead of rand int because it's only 2 letters more instead of uniform. But good eye. I was wondering if anyone was going to catch that. Yeah. So uniform produces a random float in between these 2 numbers. So now we run it. We have our rand int, our rand range, our rand uniform, and our rand random, r.random, and then a rand uniform. So again, I think that is a 12-digit number because I think it, yeah. So this will produce a random float in between 1 and 10, but it will never give you exactly 10. The closest it would ever get is 9.99999999999. But even the odds of that are 1 in 10 to the 12. So that's,
So what if I just kept doing it?
what's a million million? Trillion? It's like 1 in a trillion.
Well, that might be true.
So,
I don't have the number.
yeah. What up, Luke?
I was just gonna.
What's the error say?
Wait, so it doesn't include one, does it?
No. Even if it did, the likelihood of getting that is 1 in a trillion. So
Or be the one in-
So-
maybe 1 in 10 trillion. I don't know what, because you got that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so it's 1 in 10 to the 16th power, which is 6 and 6 is 12, and that's a trillion. So 16 plus a zillion, like 1 in 10 zillion. Isn't zillion after trillion?
1 followed by 12 zeros.
Is what?
Wait.
What's 1 followed by 16 zeros?
It's called parameter.
Parameter.
Oh, 16 you said?
Yeah.
It's right in between, actually, it's
Oh,
no
Wait, like
16.
one is a whole number, or like one dot?
1 dot. What?
It says
A
in-
gazillion is what I
Like,
said.
A gazillion.
Where are we talking?
Wait.
Where would the ones?
It'd be there. Yes, Luke.
It just says attribute error, module random, no attribute.
Did you spell it right? Uniform, not uniform. And then if you don't have, if above you don't have import random as R, or if you just have import random, you just need to make sure that whatever's before it. All right.
So
Well-
I found the number. Basically, it says trillion has 12 zeros. A quadrillion has 15 zeros. So it's
A 10 quadrillion.
yeah.
1 in 10 quadrillion odds you'll hit a 1 or a 10 by using.
Blah, 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 blah.
It's 1 to 10 to the 16th power.
That's crazy.
No, I'm saying like to get that, like you need like one.
Imagine you get it first try.
That's like really hard to get or nothing.
Yeah, to get any number is 1 over 10 quadrillion. Quazillion. What is it? Because you have, because
10 quadrillion.
10 quadrillion. Yes.
Could you make a code to run that and then like 10 quadrillion times or whatever it was until you find a number?
Yeah. You would just use a while loop and you'd have it reevaluate until that number is exactly what you want. It would take a long time.
Like
Or it'd be like that, just depends. Okay, so the bell means that's over. That's all we were gonna do today. So again, this is saved online in the resources folder. I'm gonna hand out the test review. You guys will have all of tomorrow to finish it. I'll put it online for you, Will, so don't worry. And it will be due Wednesday night so that I can grade it Thursday so that you guys can take a look at it Thursday night and come ready, rocking and rolling for the test.
Yeah.
Questions?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop this.
Wait, so the test is just
Oh,
on.
I'm gonna stop the recording.